Welcome to another edition of the Game Sports Podcast.
On this episode, we got stories from Davey's bachelor party and why Nepo babies are running the leagues around the world.
We'll also be getting into news around the National Hockey League, with also getting into the 1992 NHL redraft, the top five, and have a blind captain rating test for Alex.
And near the end of the show, I will do my best to not put a muzzle on Dave, but he gets loud when it comes to all the problems surrounding the Toronto Blue Jays.
And of course, the upcoming MLB trade deadline. Let's go. Booyah, and it's time for the Game Sports Podcast. It is your host, David McCaig Jr. I am joined by the one, the only, the absolutely amazing Alex Parr. Alex, my friend, how's it going?
Another McLaren victory this morning. You love to see it. Eat your heart out, Max Verstappen. Let's go.
Big. And one thing that we don't talk about a lot on this pod is racing. We used to, but it kind of phased out a little bit. We're going to have to reintroduce that because I had somebody on my baseball team, on the 91N Pandas baseball team, ask if we talked about racing. That's very,
What kind of racing?
F1, NASCAR, all that stuff. And we used to talk about all of it when we were on live radio, but obviously we've transitioned given a few reasons why. And that's maybe something that the fans can let us know if they want more of. And trust me, I may not be that knowledgeable in it, but I got people that are. Obviously, someone follows it here.
I follow it for sure, but I'm no pro by any means. I'm on the McLaren bandwagon as of last year, and it's paying dividends, baby. They are winning. Funny enough, we're already getting off topic on the intro of this, but the Leafs were eliminated from the playoffs, and the next day, McLaren won their first race of the season, and I said, this is probably a sign that I should pay more attention to winners than losers, because it felt a lot better Sunday morning than it did Saturday night, let me tell you.
Oh, I bet. And obviously you heard my introduction already, my pre-recorded introduction about what the agenda is going to be. And as I mentioned, it's going to be an assortment of an agenda.
A
smorgasbord of it. And that is the joy about most of these summer editions, right? There's so much you can grab from, only so much, you can grab from. And then when after September comes, we are full flight into so many things, right? But obviously, Alex, we are here today, just the two of us, and it's going to be one full segment, commercial free. There's not going to be a break or a split in segments. I was hoping that Connor was going to join me for a little bit of baseball, but you know what? Alex is going to sit at the end of that and maybe hear some rants by me, as Alex loves to hear my rants, as obviously you probably do too, listeners and viewers. But nonetheless, wherever you're tuning in from on the 91N YouTube channel or audio via Spotify, Apple, wherever, we appreciate you joining us. As I sit here today, I'm going to tell a little story, and I know we're on a 30-minute time crunch today. The goal is to reach that. Here's the story. I am wearing my Noah Khan concert shirt. As people, if you listen to previous editions, I did mention briefly in there that I was going to be going to a concert in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Well, the concert was in East Troy at Alpine Valley. And my wife and I did go to this concert. And when we got to the venue, we had great time, great day, tailgating, met some fine folks from Wisconsin, and obviously met others that were traveling from Chicago, from New York. Not too many Canadians were there, but it seems like we're the only Canadians at this venue. But nonetheless, we understand that it's an outdoor venue. And when we got to the venue, the gates opened at 6, and we did know that there's going to be some rain later on in the night. So people were talking about maybe they should have started the show earlier, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, 8 o'clock starts when the show is supposed to start. And someone comes out and lets us know that the show is being suspended temporarily due to the weather. We all wait around this venue to about 11:30, 12 o'clock until they actually officially postpone it. After being there from basically 1 o'clock in the afternoon all the way till 12, all we did was basically tailgate and wait in a lineup with people for 3 or 4 hours before we got to our spot on the lawn. And then we had to wait another hour and a half, 2 hours just to get out of the venue because of the traffic after, you can imagine, 20,000+ people. I think it's actually more. But the show got postponed till Wednesday in September. So obviously my wife and I cannot go. So this is the only memory I have of that concert, very sadly. And yes, we are getting reimbursed for the tickets, but we are not getting reimbursed for the trip. But you always make the best out of it. And if you're joining us here today, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. That's the why I wanted to tell that story. And I wanted to share why I'm wearing a Noah Khan shirt during a podcast, just to reminisce on what I could have seen. Because you did watch, right, Alex? You did see
Yeah,
it.
I saw him in Ottawa. It was great. It was awesome.
That's great. I hope you
It
enjoy.
was the best part about it was there was a roof on the venue, so we didn't really
Right.
have to worry about that.
So here's the takeaway of the story. If you're going to a
Ottawa
concert,
is better than Wisconsin. Canada is better than America. Final.
wow, that we may have lost some subscribers, but that's great. That's not great. I'm just kidding. That's funny. Interactions below, Canada or states, but nonetheless, go to a venue that has a roof. A roof. Don't go to an outdoor venue.
Dude,
Don't do it.
that's the
Don't.
scariest thing about planning a golf trip. Like I've been busting my ass trying to plan this golf trip. And like I could be spending months planning it just for us to show up and for to rain for 3 days. Like, don't know.
My bachelor party had that same thing, right? You guys had the course booked, and it did rain, but we luckily were able to go.
It was so funny. The day we were sitting inside waiting to see what the weather was going to do, it was like 100% chance of rain all day, and it did not rain a drop. I've never seen anything like it. 100% chance, and it never rained.
And honestly, I remember. We'll get on track because obviously the topics we're going to get to today. But I remember our podcast was playing on a loudspeaker, and everyone thought it was me actually recording a podcast at 7
At
a.m.
7 a.m. after the first night.
After the first night, let's just say bedtime was 5 a.m. And 7 a.m. me doing a podcast. Look, as much as I can talk, listen here.
Everybody was trying to get up to go to golf, and I was coming into the room to get you up and going. I think our tee time was like 9:30. Jerry, if that was you that planned that was awful. Why would you plan it for that early in the morning? But you're like all like rolling bed, like, oh, I'm tired.
We're not going. It's flooded. Yeah, we're not.
We're not going. Nobody's even up. Everybody's already dressed in their golf clothes, ready to go. You're like, nobody's even going.
I was still in my PJs, and I was still sleeping. And
you were half asleep, and I can't believe we even got you up and going. What a day! I had so much fun that day. I drained like a 45-foot birdie putt. It was disgusting.
And a friend of ours, I won't name him. He slept in the closet. I won't name him.
And he loved it. He loved it.
I put him in the closet with a mattress and just closed the door. That's where we put him that night.
But it was like a longer walk-in closet. We didn't just like have a guy in like a normal closet with his leg hanging out or anything. Like he was in there. He loved it. He said it was a great sleep.
Oh yeah, he said he slept well. I'm sure he
better than me sleeping on the fucking floor in the basement because everybody's snoring up a storm. There was no chance.
Snoring. So much. I hate snoring, and I need white noise when I sleep. I sleep with
That's why you and Jerry were cuddled up all night because he knew that he could handle the qualifications.
He's the one that put him on.
Really?
Yeah, he put them on that night. That's a good.
That's not so bad.
That's not. All right, sports. I love how we'll open a show. We have some fun. Okay, so we're going to go around, as I mentioned at the beginning, and it's kind of going to throw apart for a little bit of a loop about what we're going to talk about first, because something that you don't know a lot of. Not that. There's another thing. Bronny James Jr. I want to go there first for a minute. Buddy's in the MV and the obviously playing summer league in the NBA, and there's so much media attention around Bronny James, right? Because of given who his father is. I have never seen so much summer basketball coverage than I have seen this summer because of, well, Dalton Connect's a good prospect that the Lakers drafted, but Bronny James Jr. is a highlight all over the place. Now the NBA has been talking about, future expansion and maybe players owning teams. Like now people are rumoring if LeBron's going to own a Las Vegas team if they expand and so on and so forth. But my point is the Bronny James hype. Do you think that he will succeed in the NBA this season at all? Because he is a favorite to win Rookie of the Year. I don't people know that. Yes, people think he's a favorite based on experts, and I'm not going to name where, but look at the fandom pages, say that he's a Rookie of the Year candidate. There's no chance.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I work very normal jobs, like compared to like most people. And if you've ever seen a Nepo baby rise in the ranks because they're a Nepo baby, you'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense that LeBron James Jr. has a chance at winning Rookie of the Year. Guy can't hit a shot. Guy can't defend. Guy can't do anything in Summer League. I mean, does he have a shot? Of course he does. What's the name on the back of his jersey? What's the name on the front of his jersey? Of course he's got a chance. Does he deserve it? No, but that's how it goes. That's the suits running the league for you.
Honestly, LeBron James, the player that he is, and we've had this argument on this pod before. Every podcast has had it. I've always said Michael Jordan's greater than LeBron,
I
obviously,
disagree with that.
and I know you did. I love that. We'll hold that, and we'll talk about the beginning of the year. I'd like to revisit that and go through that now.
Sure.
Get more time, but LeBron James though is still one of the most freakish basketball athletes or athletes to play a sport, right? Like you can look at you can see him. He can play tight end in the football in the NFL. I feel like he'd be fine in that. Big guy, big frame,
He's
muscular.
still averaging like 20 points and 8.5 assists a game.
Guy's a stud, and I bet you if he learned how to skate, he could be a very effective stay-at-home defenseman. I feel like he'd play defense if he played hockey.
Dude, imagine getting lit up by LeBron James into the boards.
I wonder if he can skate. That'd be a very good question. If I ever get the chance to interview him and ask if he can skate, I don't think he knows how to skate, though. I have a feeling he doesn't.
Probably not.
And he's a big, tall, athletic. He's one of the most best-built athletes that I have seen play in professional sports in a very long time. You can look at the Watts, who are obviously very big. Serena Williams was an absolute beast.
What do you think his size is? How big do you think he is? Give me his height and weight. Do you know it?
6'10". Is he 6'10"?
And what do you think his weight is?
235. No, whoa, 265. 235. Final answer.
6'9", 250.
Okay. See, honestly, LeBron is LeBron. Bronny, it has his way in. Okay, and look, we're going to see a lot of now is a lot of the father sons, maybe father daughters. You talk about WNBA, right? There's different leagues, men's and women's. Let's make sure that we discuss both.
He is almost the identical size of Zdeno Chara. 5 pounds difference, same height.
Nice. That's right. Zdeno was 6'9". But I don't remember Zdeno being that shredded. I feel like LeBron must have more muscle than Zdeno does. But anyway, different topic. LeBron James Jr. We're gonna start seeing the kids, right? We've seen it in baseball. Look, I got a jersey right behind me right now, Vlad Jr.
Okay, is that a Bo Bichette bobblehead?
Up there is Bo Bichette's bobblehead.
Take that down. Take that down and send it to somebody in Baltimore. Get that fucking bum off the team. God damn.
Funny stuff. And you got Drew Jones, who's Andrew Jones's kid as well. You got Gavin Biggio, who's Greg Biggio's kid as well. There's more that I'm forgetting top of my head right now, but obviously Jackson Holiday, former first overall pick with Baltimore. A lot of those parents, dads that I've seen probably a bit more than you growing up, but they're coming into the league. Baseball, basketball, right? There's obviously we're going to start seeing this, but if you remember what I used to talk about as a kid is politics and sports, right? If you want your son or your kid to succeed, if your name is LeBron James, if your name is Michael Jordan, if your name is Wayne Gretzky, well, obviously Wayne Gretzky's kids didn't play in the show or anything like that, but if you have that name to start off as a kid, you are lucky. You're going to make the rep teams, you're going to make the travel teams, you're going to get better, you're going to get that exposure, you're going to get that training. It does give them that step ahead, but this is the era we're going to start seeing a lot of the sons/daughters coming of the famous fathers or mothers that played in sports, right?
Doesn't Gretzky's kid play baseball?
Yes, that's right. Thank you. Yes, he does. Hockey, he plays baseball. That's right. I forget his name. Thank you for
that. Not anymore. Stopped in 2015. Doesn't look like he was ever very, very good. But
well, at least he tried, right? But it helps having that name, right? And that's where you brought up, rewind to what you say in Rookie of the Year. It's not out of the realm of possibility for him to win Rookie of the Year because of both his name, popularity, and he might get playing time. He might. He might
get garbage time.
Exactly. You're going to think he might get 7 to 10 a night, maybe 6.
I don't think he plays 10 minutes a night.
No way. No. Unless the Lakers season goes, and then you might see some of the rookies get into the game. But I don't feel like LeBron wants to stay on it. I think LeBron wants to win one more time. But got some stiff competition in the NBA. I'm a big Oklahoma City believer right now. I'm all over. Obviously, I'm a diehard Raptors fan. One of the best sports moments of my life was seeing when the Raptors won. That literally might be my favorite sports moment, and that's sad because the Jays and Leafs aren't up there for anything. Bautista's bat flip is there, but when it comes to winning, but you look at the Oklahoma City Thunder with, say, Gilgeous-Alexander. Look at the Team Canada, right? You got Team USA who barely squeaked by a win the other night. It's hockey or basketball Canada's coming up, and I'm excited to see. And I may be crazy, but I think you will see if this Canadian team and the product we keep putting up can get better, might be able to beat a U.S. team. Might. I don't want to. I think it's gonna be a very competitive game. If
South
when
Sudan almost beat America
exactly,
yesterday, so
yeah, anything can happen.
the States beat them by 1 point.
Yeah, that's anything can happen. And I do think I've said it on the pod before. I think the Celtics are a good team, but I think the Thunder are the next dynasty in the NBA, 150%. Based on all that, thank you, Paul George. That's how that happens. Now, Paul George said, "Smell ya" to the Clippers and went over the 76ers.
What did I call it? A franchise crippling move?
Yeah, that's you did, and you did call it that before when it happened. And there
Mm-hmm.
was a Kawhi almost signed in Toronto, re-signed in Toronto, and Paul George almost went with him. Imagine if the Raptors gave up that. I'd actually be mad. You know what? It would have been nice to re-sign Kawhi and maybe take some more runs, but to go ahead in the future and do that, it's hard. It's a hard pill to swallow. I'm a big fan of asset management with your picks
They
and
haven't
giving
done
up
a
that
good
many
job with
picks.
that. Their asset management has not been good lately. So you might have rathered them do that because it doesn't look like they're not looking good for a while still. So
Yikes. Basketball talk here on the game guard. That's great. Alex and I will jump to our next topic right now. I'm saving baseball for last. Okay, if you're waiting for that rant, as I sit back here, there's one of my teams that did very well in my time right here. There's the point. Now I'm flickering the logo. Okay, the other one, minimal moments, and I don't even have the other one up right now. The other one's over there, over here, and in the closet. Okay. But hockey part. Okay, so last week we did the 1991 redraft. Almost said 91N. We didn't post that clip yet. We're going to, but we are going to do 1992 shortly. But I just want to get to.
Oh yeah, we are. I knew that. I
Yeah,
definitely was prepared for that.
As Parr will get prepared for that. We do have a couple other things to bring up. I really want to bring up something about the Carolina Hurricanes. Okay, they have Jack Drury now as their number 2 center. They're having contract issues with Martin Necas. They've lost some bodies. Is it crazy for me to think that the Carolina Hurricanes window is now shrunk so much that I think that New Jersey might be ahead of them now? The Rangers are still ahead of them. I feel like the Carolina Hurricanes are third, maybe a wild card team this year, which might make them one of the more scarier wild card teams, given if they can add. But it seems like Carolina kind of taken a step back this offseason by losing instead of gaining. And Brett Pesce, Brady Shea, they've lost a lot of key contributors to that team. Jake Gensel didn't resign. He went over to Tampa Bay. Did Carolina take a big step back, Parr, where they might not be making a playoff spot this year? Or do you feel like, or you think they're still...
They're going to make the playoffs for sure. They're not as good of a team as they were last year, but like you said too, maybe it's addition by subtraction. Maybe you just need a changeup. Maybe you just kept jamming that square into that circle hole for too long, but now you've been jamming it for so long. Maybe it is a circle now. Maybe those edges are a little bit rounded. Maybe we can get something moving here. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I can't predict the future, but I think I wouldn't write them off by any means. Carolina's been perennially a very good team. So I don't think that losing a couple of their players is going to change that. There's enough of a culture. There's Rod Brendamore, who's still there, and the players absolutely love it and eat up every last one of his words. I think they're going to be just okay, and I think anybody that thinks they're going to miss the playoffs is crazy.
Okay, so obviously the Carolina Hurricanes have made their changes. The Tampa Bay Lightning have had their culture changes with Stammer out, Jake Gensel in. And you brought up a very good point on the last podcast about, would you rather pay Gensel X amount or Stammer X amount for a duration of time, right? Gone are the days of not loyalty. I don't want to use that term, but I think it was you that used the exact words, Patrice Brisebois. It's a business. He's treating this as a business,
which he should.
Julian Brisebois. So I said Patrice. Anyway, Brisebois is treating this as a business, as he should be. And there's been other GMs that made some interesting moves. Steve Yzerman. I feel like his D-core didn't get better, but he did add Tarasenko. He has added some pieces over there to Detroit. Re-signed Joseph Foligno recently. And San Jose is still going to be at the bottom of the barrel this year. They're not looking any different except absorbing some contracts. There's Anaheim with a lot of the young guys coming up. there's been some old faces, new places is kind of the way the NHL used it. And of course, Lindholm and Zadorov went to Boston. Great for Toronto fans out there in Florida as Boston still improves and stays consistent. But I think this is a time in the National Hockey League where this offseason still isn't done. There's going to be a lot more to talk about still. But the storylines have been pretty fair, pretty good. And one team that we talked about last week was the Buffalo Sabres, or a couple weeks ago. What is that organization doing? Okay, what are they doing? But one team I want to mention right now is the New Jersey Devils. They brought in Sheldon Keefe. Last year, I feel like they really failed. I feel like they didn't live up to expectations. A big part of that's because of the inconsistency in net. They now had a Brett Pesce. They got some young studs in that lineup. I'm a big fan of Simon Nemec. I'm a big fan of goaltending and defense. As people heard me on this podcast, that's how I would build my team, and that's very old New Jersey type style in 02. But I feel like New Jersey's got to be a favorite in their division this year. And it's not because of Sheldon Keefe. And I wouldn't be saying that because it is Sheldon Keefe, but probably will happen because Keefe is the coach. But I feel like there's a team that didn't live up to expectations last year, was the New Jersey Devils. And you got to think this year with what they added. And Markstrom's a very good ad. Older, but he's still a very capable goaltender. We can get another couple good years out of him in net if he can stay healthy.
All you need is a few more saves for the Devils to have a good season. Like you said, their goaltending, you couldn't rely on literally either one of them at all, to the point where I think one got shipped to San Jose and the other, I can't even remember. But if you're trading your goalie to San Jose, that probably says something about the state that goalie's in. So I think, if Markstrom can even play 25% better than the goaltending that they had going for them in that season, that they'll probably be right back to where they were the season prior, where they were kind of dominating. They were playing really, really, really good hockey, which led a lot of people to believe coming into last season that they would probably be competing for the division title. So, nobody better take anything from last season for the Devils, and they better keep them on their radar to be able to do some damage this season.
So especially Jack Hughes, man. I had him in my pool.
So good.
Down last year, but if you're thinking about skipping Jack Hughes this year, don't do it. If you have a chance to get Jack Hughes, not first overall, don't get me wrong. If you have not choose him first overall, but I still think he's a first rounder in a 12-person draft. Are
you going to join our fantasy league again?
Yes, I am. And this year,
are you going to draft it in North America, Eastern Standard Time? Not in Italy at 3 a.m.
Oh, that was hard after a couple of glasses of vino doing that draft. And not reading all the rules. Well, I thought we were just doing points, but Parr likes to make it a bit harder on everybody.
It's just the way that Yahoo sets it up. I didn't change anything.
Oh, see, Yahoo, it's your fault. I didn't read it, and I'm too old school, I guess. But yes, I will be joining the draft. And Hugh's your daddy? Maybe I'll have him back.
You battled back at the end, man. Once you figured out what to do, you started, you were winning some games at the end.
Coming back, trying to.
I got my $50 back, so that's all I care about.
I got my no money back. That's okay though. I find a trip to Milwaukee, I just waste money, so I guess it's totally fine. This year, now,
Dave, here's a reminder that you want to be finished in 7 minutes. Okay.
Good. Now, I'm going to do the redraft right now, but I'm going to do Parr's surprise thing last. So we'll do the redraft first, and then we'll do Parr's surprise thing last, and then I'll have my quick baseball rant because there's going to be more baseball news to talk about after the trade deadline. I feel like there's a lot going to go on the next couple weeks. So, Parr, 1992 redraft. Just to remind everybody, Parr, myself, members of the Game Sports Podcast, we redraft the top 5 of the year that we are discussing. In this case, 1992, based on what we know today and our thoughts today. So again, the 1992 NHL redrafting the top 5. And I'm actually going to go first. Parr, I usually rotate. Parr went first in the 91. I'll go first here in the 1992, going from 5-1, taking Parr's away on that one. The New York Islanders are proud to select Corey Stillman. Number 4, the Quebec Nordiques are proud to select Roman Hamrlik. The 3rd overall pick, the San Jose Sharks, are proud to select Alexei Yashin. The 2nd overall pick, the Ottawa Senators, are proud to select Sergei Gonchar. And with the 1st overall pick, Tampa Bay Lightning are proud to select goaltender Nikolai Happy Bulin. Going with that with my top 5. Parr.
Mine is much different.
Love it. Love it.
5-4 are a pair of Detroit Red Wings legends in Kirk Maltby and Darren McCarty. Both of them won 4 Stanley Cups with that team. 4 Stanley Cups.
Friend of the podcast, Darren McCarty.
Exactly. Number 3, the perennial Selke winner for a long time, Yuri Lettinen, also a Stanley Cup underneath the belt. Number 2, Habby Bulin, another Stanley Cup winner. I think it's like 700 games or something he played. It was incredible. And number 1, another Stanley Cup champion in Sergei Gonchar.
I'm actually surprised that you didn't go with Mike Pekka. I thought you were going to go with Michael Pekka. I love Mike Pekka as a leader. The guy was a heart and soul guy. That's the type of guy that you win a cup with. Now that's the kind of role maybe John Tavares should be looking at as being a leader on Toronto.
Okay,
but we
God.
won't get into Toronto.
Okay.
We'll rewind. Okay, Parr. Now, the surprise segment that I want to do. This has kind of been a trend on TikTok. I am taking from somebody else. I'll admit it. I am taking from somebody else. But you know what? We're going to have fun. We like doing different clips and different segments on the show. So, Parr, we're going to do a blind ranking. Okay.
Okay. Sure.
I'm making you a blind ranking. Okay. You can do it the way you want. And skill, which as the as a player, doesn't matter. You're going to do a blind captain rating test. And you're going to have 5.
Okay.
1 to 5. I'm going to give you a name, and you're going to place them where you think they are in that 1 to 5 order, and you're going to predict that without knowing who the next person is. Okay. Number 1, Alexander Barkov.
I'm going to go a conservative 3 here. I really want to say 2, but that's an early take at number 2.
Okay, so 3 Barkov. Okay, number 2, Anze Kopitar.
2.
Oh, 2.
This is tough.
It's so tough. It's not easy, and I'm noting this as you go because I'm going to say what you had. Number 3, Brad Marchand.
5.
Oh, okay, good. Not a Bruin fan, I see. Number 4, Mark Stone.
4.
Oh, okay, so you are going to be putting number 1, Roman Josi.
Oh, I'd hate that. Okay.
So number 1, you had Roman Josi, then Kopitar, Barkov, Stone, and Marchand in your blind ranking.
I was trying to go off of just like pure leadership and like leading their team to like championships and stuff, but Roman Josi being number 1 is not the guy that I would want there.
See? Love that. We're going to start doing a bit more of that blind stuff, and I'm going to do it. Then maybe Parr, Dane, Heichel, EJ, whoever. We'll do different blind rankings per different sport. We'll have a little bit of fun with it. So
okay, well, let me marinate on it. Let me come back with one for you next week. Let me make the topic. I want to see what you can come up with.
Love it. That's hockey. That's all we're going to we talk a bit more about Nepotism. Oh my God, I'm not
Nepo babies.
Nepo babies. Thank you. And basketball in the first segment, and basketball. Then we talked about hockey into his bed. It's a little bit of a smorgasbord of content today. We have a little bit of fun.
I've got a banger one for next week. I have the idea in my head, and I know you're gonna love it. I know you're gonna eat it up.
I kind of taken your idea because you asked questions about, can you name the captain? You actually had quizzes, which got
for you and Dane, to see who is the bigger and more true fan to their team than the other. And we did that exactly one time. So
yeah, we can start adding that because it definitely gets the crew interacting on social media because everyone loves their clips. Let's just say how it is. If you listen to a full episode each week, thumbs up. We'd love that. Make sure you subscribe and like. But we know you'd like the clips, so we'll make sure we have these little clips to add for you. But now my rant about baseball. Good. Let's try to do that in 90 seconds.
Minute and a half. Yeah, let's go.
Okay. Before I get into my rant, firstly, obviously the MLB trade deadline is coming up. There's going to be a lot of movement in the MLB. I think it's not going to be as exciting as people think, but you are going to have new faces going to new places. Teams that are going to be sellers are going to be the Marlins. You're going to have the Rockies. You're also going to have the Blue Jays are definitely going to be sellers now at this point. You're going to have the White Sox sell off a little bit if they can on what they have. And then also, if the Angels or Athletics have bodies to move out, they will do so. Those are some of the sellers. I don't think the Rangers are going to be sellers by any means, and I don't think the Tigers are going to be sellers. They have a lot of youth in that system. They might look to maybe add some veteran talent from the other teams, maybe like a Justin Turner going from the Blue Jays to the Tigers, adding that veteran presence, little DH. Why not? That might make a little bit of sense. And if you also look at the Mets, they had a bad start to the year, and now they have improved, and they're going to be looking to add. The Nationals, big team that improved this year, they're not going to do anything. They're going to be very quiet at the deadline unless they have some veterans to sell out. Now, that's my trade deadline reaction. We'll get more of that when Connor joins me within the next week or two in our next episode. But my rant's going to be about the Toronto Blue Jays. All right, as I sit here with the Vlad jersey above me, I'm going to say this flat out. Number one, Vlad Jr., huge Vlad Jr. fan. He's one of the only consistent hitters on that team. He is hitting bombs. He's batting just under 200. We have not really had players stay within
under 200.
Under 300. Sorry, thank you. Under 300, batting just around 289 to 291, I believe is his average. He's consistent. He's an all-star. He loves Toronto. Re-sign the guy right now, 10 years. I don't care. 250 million, 300 million. I don't care. Give the guy the dollars. Keep someone in Toronto that can be the face of this team, because can you really name a lot of players that have spent 10, 15 years with this team? You can look at Joey Bats, look at Encarnacion, look at these guys, Roy Halladay, guys that have spent some time, but true guys grown through and through. Vlad is a Blue Jay. Re-sign this guy. You trade him. That will be a big mistake. Number two, Shapiro and Atkins are not the guys to run this team. Do you really want these guys to make the moves at the deadline to really sell off the core of these guys? Well, unfortunately, they are going to be the guys. And hopefully they only move guys like Kikuchi, Justin Turner, IKF. They move out guys that are expiring contracts and don't make those big decisions that are going to affect next year and so on. Because Shapiro and Atkins should not be running this team. There's not been any success at all. Atkins, gaslighter in interviews towards fans, making us believe. Shapiro, I can only say nothing but negative on my thoughts about Shapiro. The Blue Jays need a change. And Rogers, you guys have so much money. You're going to spend $70 million on Shohei Ohtani, which was obviously a disaster, if you remember in the offseason. Spend money on places that we need it. And the quote that always gets me from Shapiro, we'll see how the fans are if they invest in this team. Are you kidding me? Do you remember 2015 and 16? Sold out. Fans are going to this game still because I bet you everyone bought these tickets because they thought they were going to get Shohei Ohtani. That's all. These tickets were purchased before the season started, and while we thought we had Shohei Ohtani, and people are still buying even when the team is struggling. This fan base is invested. It's good for baseball when the Blue Jays do good for multiple reasons. One, revenue and Canadian baseball skyrockets. There's a spike. Look at 92-93. Look at 2015, 2016. Popularity's there. You will have success. Fans will sit in those seats. You have to invest. Toronto fans are very sensitive and defensive, and will still go to games and cheer for them like the delusional fans that we like to be. Support this team. Bullshit. We will support this team. Why don't you invest into this team? And that's why you shouldn't be running this team anymore. I want someone who's like an Alex Anthopoulos, who did take some time to get this team back in the playoffs, but he was passionate about being there. And he bought into this team to help to get them to try to win. And obviously Beeston did win with the Blue Jays in the 90s. This team needs to sell off smartly at the deadline, hit a reset into the offseason, invest in replenishing the youth in that prospect system because it isn't as strong as it should be, and you can still get some core players to help retool this and have a quick, safe turnaround instead of having another 10, 15-year disaster of no playoffs. But Shapiro and Atkins should not be running this team. Just make the necessary moves at the deadline, make that order from up top, and restart next year. New manager, new setting, everything. And I love watching it yesterday when I was watching the Tigers as we record here on Sunday the 21st. Fans booing. We're over it. It's done. The season, unless they win 50 out of the next 52 games, there's going to be no chance this team's going to bounce back in that tough of the division. Smart moves. Number one, re-sign Vlad long-term. Number two, only let Shapiro and Atkins make the necessary moves this year, then restart next year. New management, because I'm over the gaslighter that Atkins is, and I'm over the nonsense that Shapiro comments, and just need a reset and not start from scratch, but get to retool this team with a new face in the management and also in the dugout. Sorry, John Schneider, liked you at first. Time for change. That's my number three. John Schneider also has to be a one to go at the end of the season. Don't make that move until the end of the year, though.
Don't resign Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I really like where my internet bill is at right now, and I would not like it to go up with Rogers. So thank you. Please do not send that guy a bunch of money to be mediocre for the next 10 to 15 years. That is all.
I think he's great.
He is great. I love him.
need to keep him. Bo Bichette, I don't think you sell him off this year either.
I would buy that guy a plane personally. If you don't want to be a Toronto Blue Jay, then go wherever you want.
Ask him if he wants long term, but there is one guy who
He
wants.
was talking to the Baltimore media, being like, "Oh, well, it is a business and things happen. So if I'm gone, I wouldn't understand." Oh, that's a guy who's really locked in mentally to this team for sure. He's already looking out the window at all the other options passing by. Then go, dude. Then go.
I hope it's not Atkins or Pyro making that trade, though, Parr. It cannot be those guys. And that's an off-season move. I think if you're Rogers and you have a knowledge of this sport in any which way and care about this team, you tell Atkins or Pyro, hey, you're only doing this. And if they don't listen, you fire them right away. End of story. This team is in kabobbles. And Springer, who's been consistent now, his contract is ridiculous, $25 million for the next few years. That's someone you have to try to move out. Re-sign Danny Jansen. I'm a fan of Danny Jansen. Alejandro Kirk, find him the next bus out. The next bus out. Don't care. The guy had one strong year, and it caused you to trade Moreno instead of him. Varsho, I love Varsho, but that trade with Arizona,
awful trade. So stupid. Wouldn't they love to have both of those bats back, eh?
And Oscar Hernandez? I know the last couple years, but you could have substituted that with a free agent signing. Teo, Lourdes Gurriel, and Gabriel Moreno. Wouldn't that be nice to have those three pieces in your lineup? I would say so. Look, hindsight's 2020. This deadline has to be taken with caution. Trade off the free agent guys. Turner, IKF has 2 years, but you can still move him. He's movable. I know they don't want to look at moving control, but there's guys that you can move. Get some C, B, B-plus level prospects. Start replenishing and build and trust in your farm directors to help these young guys grow, because that's what needs to be addressed. And you can look at the offseason, add some younger in-prime talent for not expensive, or keep grooming below, because if you believe in what you draft and you believe in your prospects to develop, that is what success will bring. Look at the teams that are being successful. Baltimore Orioles, a lot of patience for drafting. There is teams that are following it. You have to follow suit. And Atkins and Shapiro need to go. Parr, we're 36 minutes. We're going to get the wrap up going right now. Comment below what you think about the Blue Jays. Connor and I, and maybe me and Parr, depending if Connor can join, we'll have a reaction about the MLB in the next coming week or two in regards to the trade deadline and what happened and what didn't happen. Let us know what you think below, that with the MLB teams, your favorite team should do, and what you think about our thoughts about the Blue Jays. Alex, I want to say thank you very much for taking the time, my friend. It's always a pleasure. We recorded this on July the 21st, Sunday. It will be up for you to enjoy on Monday. Obviously, as you heard, all the content is relevant, so don't be shied away because of that. And if you made it to this point, you obviously haven't been. But make sure you like to interact with us and follow us on TikTok, Instagram, our 91N YouTube channel, wherever you're tuning in from. We appreciate it. But Parr, I want to say thank you again to you, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me. I like the Sunday morning chat that we're doing. Well, early afternoon chat, but yeah, you know what I mean.
12:45 p.m. Eastern time right now, and it's sunny, and I am going to go run some errands and put my rear end into a pool and relax, because I have a big week coming up with my new full-time job starting. And
I'm gonna go hit some golf balls. That's what my plan is.
I can tell by the hat that's got on.
And I got my book. I've been reading. I've been reading. This game's been making me read. Stupid game. Stupid game.
Fun stuff. Reading golf. Okay. Nonetheless.
What?
Again.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're really invested, and I love it.
Yeah, man. Oh, do you want to hear a heartbreaking story quickly? I'll make it super quick.
Go.
I'm on the golf course playing in my league last Monday. For me, if I play bogey golf, I'm very happy. 9 over through 9 holes, 18 over through 18 holes. That's a pretty good day for me. I'm pretty happy with that. I am 3 over through 5, and I'm feeling it. I'm like, I cannot miss this ball. I am on fire. Then the storm comes. We're walking as far away from the clubhouse as you can be with my windows down in my vehicle. So not only did it rain out probably what was going to be my best round of the year, especially in the competitive sense of like in my league, my car was also soaked, and I had to walk through the whole way with no jacket. It was awesome.
Love that. Wear a raincoat and roll up your windows, folks. And again, as I told you at the beginning, do not go to a venue for a concert that is outdoors. as I tell you that. Again, thank you, Alex. Thank you to all the listeners and viewers of the Game Sports podcast. We do plan, hopefully, to be back next week, depending on, we're recording special edition shows. Parno's in the middle trying to get a few things figured out. So we may not be back until the following Sunday. So you will either hear from us on the 28th, 29th, or next time on the 4th or 5th. One of the two times, or both. But those are our tentative dates. As in the summer, we like to do weekly or bi-weekly until September when it gets full-fledged weekly episodes once again. And I remind you, we do have our summer vacation in August coming up, which we do plan this year to be from the 18th until September 2nd. Just to remind you, that's pending any special edition shows we record, however. But again, thank you for taking the time. I'm here to remind you, keep your stick on the ice. Oh my goodness, I've never messed that up before.
Wow. He's getting rusty.
Getting rusty. I'm here to remind you, keep your stick on the ice. Swing your bats, catch your touchdowns, drain your threes, and shoot your shots. Booyah.